of the most admirable chasers you could possibly wish to see.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the Racehour podcast, brought to you with our friends at Gambling.com and, of course, Cash Win Sportsbook with 30% sports cashback up to €300. I think across all sports. Go check them out for Irish customers. All the details on the screen. Diarmuid Nolan is here. Diarmuid, how are you?
Hello, Dino. We're going to have a long few weeks now with us doing this twice a week, Dino. I'm already sick of looking at you.
Yeah, that's fair.
And then we live in a house together in Cheltenham, and Jesus, it's no wonder why, like, April through to Galway, we don't really.
The golden highway is passed us by. That golden highway up to Christmas, where it's once a week. There's only a bit less grand. Yeah. Look, we made it a lot easier because we could bring other people on. This week we brought Stephen Katz. Thank God. Hi, Stephen.
Hi, lads. How are you?
Oh, good. We haven't seen you since Christmas racing is done, Steve. Keeping well.
Yes, lucky I wasn't on any time over Christmas. My punting was disgracefully bad. And then I had a big bet on Classic Getaway at 11-4 Tremor as well. And he went to 101, didn't he? And Jesus.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus, he was home and hosed, yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, and it hasn't turned. Well, I haven't done very little since now. I've kind of, when you're really last resorts, go small stakes and sit out of
Greyhounds and stuff, was it? Virtual Greyhounds.
Yeah, Sunday nights at Wolverhampton.
Hey, that's the new experiment. Like that's supposed to get you out when you had a terrible week. There's now Sunday
so
nights,
I've kind of nearly taken a 10-day hiatus, and then I actually loved this weekend. I've said it before on the pod that there's something about the classic chase. The Warwick card's always brilliant. Well, you used to have the novice hurdle, that's sadly gone. But you have the classic chase, great race. You have the Pretemps qualifier, always good race, and always a really good novice chase, as well as having the Lanzarote and the Silvio Conti. This is a brilliant weekend. People give out about the first half of January, and I think this is a fantastic weekend. We should go next year. We go to Warwick, get a cheap flight to Birmingham.
Why not?
I'd love to go to this meet.
Very accessible.
Oh, yeah, actually, yeah.
Very accessible.
100%.
Yeah. You'd probably get a €20 flight to Birmingham on a Saturday morning.
I tell you what, though, Stephen, you better enjoy it because what they're saying at the minute about next weekend's racing is that it is doomed. There is not a frost sheet on the planet that can save racing next weekend. Okay, they are going to get smacked. And you love your weather. I'm sure you were aware of it, did you?
Well, I am aware of it. I'm aware of you, Dean. You're just probably reading headlines there. Didn't actually read the story. It doesn't look that bad. I clicked it. I read it. It doesn't sound that bad. I think they're saying there's two different forecasts.
Hey.
Ascot will be okay. Haydock might be in trouble.
The headline said there wasn't a frost sheet on the planet. I went with
that. yeah. If a tornado comes, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, great. Well, we look forward to this weekend and some of next weekend. Based on that, anything catch your eye over the Christmas period? Anything else we needed to talk about, Stephen? There must have been something else because obviously you didn't come on the earlier podcast. And there was a lot of racing. They talked about your upset Tremor, but anything else?
I hadn't even planned on this. No eye catches. Like, not really. No. I listened to your podcast on Novice Chasers. Thought that was good.
Nice.
No, I've nothing planned to say here now. I need something planned because I'm a complete spoofer. So you can't just catch me on the hop and ask me for an eye catcher for Christmas like that. There's a horse I can't even think of his name. Justin Carty owns in Band of Outlaw colours. I think he was in the race behind Bunting. He looks to have ability now. He'd be one to be watching for the Fred Winter.
Give that to me when you remember. But I want to pique your interest on something else. Everyone's talking about the wonderful Constitution Hill. And now Nicky's worried about running him again. It's not a new thing, Stephen, for horses to be wrapped up in cotton wool. Henrietta Knight used to get a lot of stick for it for the best mate and that. But we're a long way away from the halcyon days, aren't we? When horses just used to run when there was a race suitable, they go.
We are, but I don't think we need to be. I mean, I've said on this podcast before, I think it's a sport, it's a spectacle. There's no reason we shouldn't be specifying minimum runs, and you can't go to Cheltenham if you don't do it. I don't see why that's a problem. You have to do it in golf. You have to play certain events. You have to do it in darts. You have to do it in snooker. You have to do it in athletics. You have to do it in soccer. I mean, if you owned Lionel Messi and you said, you know what, I'm just going to play him 5 times a season, imagine what that would be like. And you'll have all these guys on Twitter going, yeah, well, you don't own Lionel Messi, so he pays the bills. So you have no right to say this, I don't see why you can't regulate the sport. Let him go and run in a field twice a year if he doesn't want to run under rules in horse racing. But it's a sport, it's a regulated sport, and this is common in pretty much every other sport that there is competition. So I really think it's something we should be strongly
So-
considering. Even 3 runs a season outside the fest, 4 runs a season in total, or 3 runs a season, including the run after Cheltenham. So at least you have to run twice then before Cheltenham
Yeah,
that season.
I don't mind that. I think
And I'd love to see him.
there might be a case, Stephen, though, that they'll end up with exceptions. If you ever bring in anything like that and they come along with the line of, well, what if you got a vet cell? Ground changes significantly on the day, and then we'll just end up in a farcical situation. But I don't disagree with it on its entirety. Sport needs to see its best protagonist at the go. The Constitution Hill issue, though, I want to throw this out there to you guys, is that there isn't a horse that can challenge him unless you can find, there isn't one. So if we saw him, say, 5-6 times a year, that'd be great. But it's almost like the walkover in the middle of a competitive card. Is that going to bring new people to the sport? This horse that just goes on a 20-25 race unbeaten. I want it to happen. I like the idea of it, but I don't think it changes much. And it's probably just up to Nicky. What do you reckon?
I think it changes a lot. I mean, Frankel, if you look at the likes of Frankel, who was always going to dance it, like he went to Up and Trip, he went to York, he went to the big dances. So even if Nicky goes to the international hurdle, which would be something, that's quite dull. But if you take the likes of the way that a Daisy, Kato Star, Hurricane Fly, like Hurricane Fly was going to France and everything.
Yeah, but that made it interesting. That's never going to happen at Constitution Hill. And they decided no fences. That's never, ever going to happen. So that argument makes no sense. He's never going to take on something we don't know he can beat. It's never going to happen. There isn't a horse.
But he in terms of competition, he should at least be going to Leopardstown, and they should be incentivized to run in the grade ones, and that's it. That's how you qualify. That's what I think the program should be about.
I got you.
And you say, what's the point of him coming to Leopardstown? He'll dance in by 6 lengths.
He will.
There'll be a day he'll come under the cosh. He might hit the last. He might get up by a neck, and I tell you, to make him 10 times more popular than he is if he did that. And that's what makes champions. That's what makes sport. That's what makes a spectacle. What Nicky Henderson is doing is making it dull. And won't somebody please think of the children? I mean, like, my little fella should be, my little girl should be watching this going, oh, my little girl actually used to ask me, every race, is Honeysuckle running, because she used to come out and compete, because she went in against the boys, because she went over to England, because she danced all the dances. That's what makes a champion. She hasn't heard of Constitution Hill. So, it's the sport, it's the spectacle, it's the whole thing. And he is just a symptom of what's happening. Willie's doing it, Gordon's doing it, to be honest, as well. And they get less criticism because Nicky's so unbelievably painful at it. But I know people are probably getting a pain in the face from listening about it now, so we'll probably stop going on about it.
Yeah, that's fine.
But I think the criticism is just justified, and something has to be done. And do it as a sport. Don't just be giving out about Nicky.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of merit in that, I have to say. This podcast, of course, and it's nice to catch up with Stephen Cass, of course, after the Christmas break as we get back into it. It's supposed to be the tips blast demo. We're gonna rattle through Wetherby, Kempton, Warwick, a little bit of Fairyhouse, because I think they've got they do have their Danmore chase on the weekend, and the rearranged Lawlers and Ace. That's right, isn't it? Should we get going?
Yeah, fair enough. Sure, look, we may as well kick off with the Grade 1 Lawlers of Naas. I always think that's a really grand title for a race, isn't it? But the this is a serious race. This is going to have obviously serious consequences for the Ballymore market. Ballyburn, he came out over Christmas. I'd imagine he'll end up in the Ballymore. But obviously,
I saw it on social. He's getting smashed up for the Supreme. I don't know whether. Yeah, again, Stephen. I'm just reading headlines. Didn't check.
I watched. Watching the first run back anyway. I thought Cass was mad calling him Ballyboat or whatever he called him on his podcast. But
quick enough,
he didn't look a Supreme horse to me first time. Or second time maybe. But as I said before, as Don said, and I heard Tony Keenan saying it as well and off the fence. When a horse is on the outside there over Christmas at Leopardstown, they really boom clear. It just kind of really did kind of give them a bit of an advantage. Paul Townend seemed to take that every time. So some horses looked a bit better than maybe there would. That's why your lad Dean in the novice chase, he went up the inside and still won as easy as he did. So again, your lad gets marked up. But this race is a serious race in its own right. Firefox and Ill, Antarchy are the favourites, and the Firefox was brilliant last time. Really, really good. Beat the aforementioned Ballyburn, who obviously boosted that form, but Willie Mullins' horses were so out of sync, maybe as they always are in their first run of the season, that kind of Ballyburn, he could have improved 10, 12, 15 pounds, really, just like all all the rest of them have. Firefox was really good though, and kind of kicked on from the front, but I'm happy enough to kind of take them both on, and I like on Tubber here just as a win only bet. I wouldn't be going each way on him or anything, obviously, with the 2 places. Brilliant first time out. That form is working out quite well. The horse that he hammered the first time run won a Leopardstown over Christmas, and then last time I think the Royal Bond, Don did warn us on this podcast to not write off the Royal Bond like me and you were, Dean, and it's actually working out quite okay. I mean, Kingsfield, who is a bit of a rogue, he won over Christmas. Far and Glory was coming to win at Aintree when he fell
100%
on St. Stephen's Day. And, you know, they were the first two ahead of him. He ran really well. He just didn't have that turn of foot that those front 2 had. Going up to 2 miles 4 here, this is a horse who's always had a huge reputation, cost quite a bit of money. And for me here at 13-2 or so, whilst the front 2 are obviously very exciting, had that last run not happened, this lad would be as exciting. So at 13-2 with that bit more experience in a red hot race like that, I quite like on Tubber here for Henry de Bromhead.
Yeah, I gotcha. I mean, he went favourite for that Royal Bond, whether you like the form or not. He was well fancied to go and get the good job done. Plenty in the back history as well to recommend it. Gordon Elliott said Firefox was his best of them, and that was on the same day Farron did that race, Stephen Cass. So Firefox, he got off favourite, I think. I know that they're vying for it with Atlantique at the minute, but he'll go off favourite.
Yeah, I think he will. I mean, Gordon tends to run his best novice here. You know, he ran hot. Like there's a good few of them over the years. And the way he's talking about Firefox, he thinks he's his best novice. You'd have to fancy him against Atlantique, I think, of the 2 at the top. I kind of agree with Derma, though. I think the Royal Bond, I was nearly writing it off as a poor enough race. I was surprised on Tubber was favourite that day because I never would have had him as a 2-miler. So to run as well as he did over 2 miles, I think, you know, was testament to him and the way the form is working out. It's very good grade 1 form that he has. So given he's 3 times the price of the other 2, I'd be edging towards him. But at the same time, I'm not having a bet because you wouldn't be shocked if it turned into a bit of a grueler and Crow Park was a good stayer or Lecky Watson has had ability. I would expect, you know, gun to head, Firefox the most likely winner. At the prices, I would go on Tubber, but I don't want to have a bet. I'm just gonna watch the race, I think.
That's fair. That's fair. I think, you know, everyone's going to be fascinated by that nice little Friday treat before the weekend action comes at us. Firefox currently 74 joints with Atlantique, I should say, and on top of that, 32. The 2 boys like it. I wouldn't put anyone off at all. Definitely a watching race for me, but I do think Firefox, as Stephen says, most likely winner. There's a bit of value. Right, let's get stuck in then to the action on the weekend. Saturday, of course, Wetherby, Kempton, and Warwick, and a bit of Fairyhouse thrown in. 110 at Wetherby is the first race we're going to look at. Towton Novices Chase, always a good grade 2. We could see Neaton of the Waters turn up here for Willie Mullins after his Paddy Power check success, but I do not think so. Colonel Harry's going to be the market leader. Jamie Snowden, Gavin Sheehan. Will they get back on track, Dermot Nolan?
Yeah, Dean, I think so. Meeting of the Waters is now a non-runner anyway. Was in there and seems to just have been pulled. So they did.
Oh yeah, it's just changed now.
Yeah, they did declare him, and now he's gone. Yeah, so he would have been interesting there to a certain degree, but the trip would have been way too short for him. I don't know why you declare him and then not. I don't know, but it doesn't matter. Paul Byrne and Willie Mullins, etc. won't be trying to guess their heads. This is a decent race, but the favourite for me is well clear of the rest of them. I don't, like Chasing Fire hasn't jumped that well, Hurricane Highway either. And the form of Kim Bailey's and Dan Skelton for me just isn't good enough. Colonel Harry, he's just has the best form of these last time in an absolutely huge race in that grade 1 at Sandown, Dean. And when you look at him, he looked like a horse that day who was a grade 1-ish horse who needed to hop up and trip. So
100%.
this is definitely going to suit
I'd say
him.
they were disappointed they got beat, but it was all about the trip. And
literally. And look, Gavin Sheehan, you know, of all the jockeys in the UK that you would want on board at the moment, he's definitely your man anyway.
Yeah. He can go off around even money. Stephen Cass, is that sensible price for a good horse?
I'd be mad keen to take him on now. I think like this fellow was 132 rated hurdler. He's no superstar now, I'd say. And that race at Sandown was absolute muck for a grade 1. Like Petit Tonnerre wasn't off. JPR1
Agreed.
ran stink. So basically, Le Patron at 130 horse, like won the grade 1. He like Le Patron was a 113 hurdler. He was rated 130 going into Sandown there. So like that's the form he's running to. So just because it was a grade 1, I think it was a really, really poor grade 1. Now, obviously, going up on trip, Colonel Harry is going to improve, but I think the best form in the race by a long way is Trelawn's run behind Ginny's Destiny and Grey Dawning. That was a really good race at Cheltenham. I thought Trelawn was probably the second. Obviously, the winner, who Ginny's Destiny is a horse I really like, I think was maybe the third best that day. Grey Dawning definitely would have won, only for clouting the second last. Trelawn hit the last and then got going again and actually stayed on really well to the line. So the way that David Bass rides them and the way this horse has been ridden in the past, Trelawn is going to go in front. Colonel Harry will be held up the way Gavin Sheehan rides. And good luck catching him, I'd say, because Trelawn's a serious tool. You know, he's proper 145 horse. I think he'd be better than that. I think he's a bit of a big monster of a horse and could be very good in time. And I just think he's better form and a better horse than Colonel Harry. So given he's going to have the lead and he's 3 or 4 to 1 when your man's even money, I'd be mad keen on Trelawn here.
He's better horse, better form, and better price. Steve, got to be keen.
Yeah, it's just a way of reading the form. If you think that Henry VIII fell apart, which I really do think it did.
Well, we said on this podcast at the time, very, very weak. I don't think this is a strong grade 2. So, okay, fair enough. I do think the race will set up lovely for Colonel Harry to come and pick him up, but he's still got to go and do it. And if you think Trelawn is the better one, fair play. Okay, we'll move on from there. The 130 at Kempton. We're going in time order, of course. So we dash over to Kempton now for the Coral Handicap chase. Chianto, Classico, Phlegmatic, Latitude, Gustavian, the old Rasher counter, if it does turn up in here. What do we like? Stephen Cass, market leader, Chianti Classico, I think.
Yeah, disappointing turnout here in
Not
the
great,
end. Yeah, to only get 7 runners. Chianti Classico, he's rated 142. It's high enough for kind of an inexperienced novice chaser. But at the same time, I think a lot of his competition here are exposed. Like Phlegmatic, even he kind of fell into a place the last day. He loves Kempton technically, but I think he might be souring a bit. Like he was running on at the end of the last day, so he's very little to beat here. So Chianti Classico will probably get the job done if he has the ability. If he can run to his mark, he'll basically win because I think he's a classier animal than these. But he's a novice. He looks inexperienced. I wouldn't be backing him at 2 to 1 or anything like that. So I'm leaving this race alone.
Fair enough. Cobden on for Kim Bailey. He does look like the younger, improving one. The other one could be Latitude, Dermo. Anything to take on Chianti Classico with?
Yeah, I'm really keen on Phlegmatic here.
Okay.
I thought he was massively overly held up last time by Harry Skelton. He runs over 137. He definitely stayed every inch of that. This is not a strong race by any means, as has been alluded to when you're taking Tristan Durrell, who's a very, very capable young jockey. His 3-pound claim, Phlegmatic definitely has a race like this in him. I just thought last time, I really did think it was an absolute dog of a ride. That
horse goes like that every time, Diarmuid. Like he's held up out the back every run, and he kind of dogs himself out there. That's the way he runs.
I think it's a tactic that they've been trying for kind of far too long, and I think Tristan Durrell's he's a much more forward-facing jockey. In my mind, something like this has been more of the aim with him all season. And I wouldn't think it was the first time ever backing him. I just thought last time that he looked to me like a horse who was just fighting for his head a little bit. And I hope that they even have mid-div. And I do think there's a decent enough pot in him, especially off effectively 134.
Yeah, fair enough. Tristan Durrell obviously in the play, taken over, of course, from normal jockey Skelton, although he's been ridden by a few different riders for the Skelton. Yeah, Phlegmatic. For Dermo, currently around 11 to 4. Chianti Classico is 5 to 2. Yeah, I've got no review on the race, I have to say. I do think it is a disappointing turnout. As I said, there's better stuff to come. The 149 at Warwick is the Potence Handicap Hurdle, of course, another one of these qualifiers. They'll nearly all qualify, Stephen. Not the biggest field. They'll nearly all get in.
Yeah, but half of them probably need to win anyway to get in. I think you'd probably want to be mid 130.
Yeah,
So
you've
there's
only
probably
really got two of these, maybe three of
yeah,
these that are going to get there, and I don't think it'd be first choice for the likes of the big breakaway, but they've got to find something for the big
yeah,
Well, haven't the
breakaway.
Irish trainers missed a massive trick here? Because there'll be 24 of them only running at the one at the DRF, and
yeah.
The
like
cost of a boat guaranttees you the entry. That's what
like
that's
it's
what they
just
needed to do.
it's stupidity, isn't it? Just to
Yeah.
miss this now, like just really moronic, like.
You know, look at it. The betting heat is what it is here. Quintara and Mel Munro look like they're going to be pretty close to vying for favouritism. I think it'll go to Michael Nelly and Sam Young did bring over Mel Munro. What do you reckon, Stephen? What do you like?
Yeah, Mel Monroe is the obvious one, and her form in novice, in good novice company in Ireland, it looks pretty good. She could be the one, but I'm going to chance Gentleman at Arms. Like, he was second in Leamington here, grade 2 hurdle over the over 2 mile 5. He's very in and out horse now, but in that novice hurdle career, he was rated 143. He was even second in that Aintree 3 mile novice grade 1. He won off 124 at Aintree, having gone down the handicap last year, and he's £5 higher. But you know, I'd say he still has a race in him off 129. He likes Warwick. He's in and out. He's kind of a win-only proposition at 14s. He'll stay. He'll like the ground. I just think there's another race in him off his mark. He's still only 7. And you know Warwick, it's that kind of a course that they come back and they run well all the time. So I was going to chance him at a big price. He'd be one I actually will back.
Nice one. Double figures around 14, 16s. Gentlemen that answer Stuart Edmonds and Kieran Gittins. And you'd imagine of 129, if they've got any pretensions of going for the final, they'll have a crack at this. Fairquin's interesting in here. Dermo, of course, won the actual attempts a couple of years ago. Not been seen since 667 days. You'd imagine they'd like to scoot that into a qualifying position and get ready for another go. But what's going to win the race?
Yeah, he'd be one that you would be begging the jockey to just play him as late as possible and to try and grab. Is it 4th now only, isn't it? Or is it top 3? They have changed it anyway.
Top 4, isn't it? It used to be top 6.
6 to 4.
Top 4.
Yeah.
Top 4, yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
No, I thought Martha Bray, just to stick with the skeleton angle, despite the fact that I don't really back a whole pile of their horses, but she was really good last time at Kempton and has to win this because, again, off this mark currently wouldn't be getting near it, but last time shaped like a horse who was really well ahead of the mark. Dan Skelton does this with the hurdlers. Their first season with him, they do damn all, and then they end up on really low marks, and they can just knock up a sequence. And she does look, Martha Bray, as if that is possible here. That performance last time was really good, and I just wouldn't be surprised at all. I see this horse go in again. Typically, of a race of this nature, it's kind of dotted with horses maybe kind of falling backwards, but this is definitely one that could definitely be piling forward.
Fair enough, Martha Bray. I tell you, if Skelton has a good start, or Kim Bailey's a good start, one of you would be happy. Big Breakaway's got to be interesting, I think. Of 137, they've just been
he's a
straight line.
He's a pure hound now, isn't he? He's
I kind of said that only for reaction, but I do love the Big Breakaway, and I mean, there's a
that was a stinking performance last time. Like that was horrible to watch.
Everything about his form has gone off the cliff, you know. But it's off 137. If you can give that £8, still run one attempts if it was in any kind of form. So you never know. It's going to be the outsider.
You'd be like us with Liz Oscar. Remember, this horse once won a Stayers Hurdle, lads.
Yeah, if you can go back 9 years,
has to win a race eventually.
Yeah. Hey, there's all sorts of different ways to try and skin the cat. The Big Breakaway is the fascinating runner in there. I don't think I'll be part of on it, but it would be very interesting to watch. Now, we do have a very good, and what I think is a very fair field of 5 for the Coral Sylvia and Arco Conti chase the grade 2 at Kempton. 207 on Saturday. It looks like we've got Banbridge and Pitdory vying for favouritism, but I wouldn't be surprised if Edwardstone gets piled into 5-2, the top pair, 11-4, 8-1, then Not Long Till May, who's obviously a very good horse, and Janadil thrown in there for good luck with Brian Hayes and Willie Mullins at 14-1. There, Mo, belter.
Absolute belter, yeah. Serious race. Like you saw the entries, you thought maybe 3 of them might kind of show up, but like it's really, really good. Pitdory has been very good, but picking up races maybe that, you know, this is genuine grade 1 level. Banbridge was brilliant at Aintree last year. The ground good to soft. That's kind of is what they're looking for. Do we know why he was out for so long? Was there a proper mishap or kind of what was his problem?
Since Aintree.
Or was it just
No, it's
ground?
just ground with him. They just said
Yeah,
they'd
I
wait
think they're just waiting.
with him. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
then,
they just weren't going to run them and went to ground.
yeah, well then, like, I couldn't believe when I saw it there 5-2. I mean, I think not long till May will chase them home. But I'm happy to kind of brush aside Pictori. I'm happy to brush aside Edward Stone, who just doesn't look the same horse. Janadil, like, probably kept up to a similar level of form with Allaho, but oh God, like, he just has a long way to kind of come back as good as he is. Bramberg, he's 8 years old. Brilliant last time we saw him. Has been brilliant fresh. I can't quite believe 5-2. I just think that's an absolutely huge price considering the field here.
Fair
Genuinely.
enough.
Yeah.
Big shout for Banbridge. Although that Sam Wow keeps letting down Banbridge's entry run every time. I know you boys are fanboys.
I know, he battered them though. He battered them.
He did win the race. Okay, Stephen, where do we go with this? 5 good ones.
I should, like I told you, my confidence is shot with punting. I like hands up in the air. I have no fucking clue what's going to win this. Do you know, like Pictori would be the one I'd be keen on if he had ran better the last time. Now I know he bolted up on the book, but he didn't. Like, he was jumped really sticky, looked a bit sulky. Didn't like him. Edward Stone, yeah, you know, up and trip, question marks. Like, he might have had his day in the sun. And Derm was right, but sure, you wouldn't be surprised if Banbridge went off 6.0 on Betfair and he wasn't fit. You know what I mean? It's January. Like, they're getting him ready for Cheltenham.
Long way to send him for not being ready.
And punches down. Of course they're going to send him. They're just getting the spin into him. Like, they'll go anywhere the ground is good. Like, he could go off 6-4. He could go off 7-1. So I couldn't back him with any confidence. So look, honestly, hands up in the air. Nothing would surprise me here. So I'm just going to watch it.
That's fair. I've never ever been an Edward Stone fan, really. I've always thought there's something better than him. I think in the context of this race, and with the slight concern you have about Banbridge turning up and maybe it not being the day. It's not the day that they've all been focused on, sure, but he's got the form there. I've never been an Edward Stone fan per se, but the 2 runs in behind John Bonner do me to pick this up. I do think that might go off favourite if there is any kind of weakness around Banbridge here. Pictori is what Pictori is, and something will have to run to a good level to beat it. I think something will. Banbridge vote for Dermo. Stephen's just going to enjoy the contest for what it is, and all interest will be around what happens with this Banbridge market. JJ Slevin is booked up. Joseph has, I assume, on the boat. A good race to look forward to. That is that grade 2 at Kempton. The 224. Well, we've got another small field here, Stephen. I don't know if you read Tanya's stuff on Gambling.com, Tanya Stevenson, but she's mad about this Apple away.
Dino, of course I read Tanya's column on Gambling.com, but just remind us all what she said.
She's very, very keen on Apple away. Thought it was an absolutely monster effort around, what was it, second week of December in beating Making Your Mind Up. And it was on heavy ground, but she doesn't want everyone to forget about this horse going forward. And look, the Hampton Novices Chase at Warwick 224 is a bit of a belter. Appleway likely to be favourite if the Grey Dawning support doesn't come, but Broadway Boys in there, who I think is right near the top of the tree for the staying novices in the UK. There isn't that much about. And then you've got the Changing Man and Carbon King. What do we like?
This is a fantastic race now. This really is a race because Grey Dawning beat Appleway on first start this season. Then So you know, you've that question, will she turn it around? She was very good the next day. She kind of got her head in front and off she went. So she's going to go from the front in this race. That's going to be a side around these Warwick fences. Broadway Boy, everyone's talking about him as being, like, literally every English pundit is talking about him as being under the radar.
We
so
don't
I'm not
have
sure
much
how
to talk about, Stephen. So, you know, that's why I said I think he's got right at the top of the tree. I think you go for the 4 miler, but you know.
No, and he could. Twiston Davis won Black Lion. He kind of won an RSA or a whatever it's called.
He did. He snuck one under the radar. He did. Brown and Vice.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Black Lion, a horse that he ran plenty as a novice that season, and Broadway Boys kind of fit in that profile. This will be his 5th run as a novice before Cheltenham. He could even run another. He could have 6 runs before Cheltenham. This fella's going. That's what you want, Nicky Henderson.
Look, they are getting it done before the Irish turn up, Stephen, and there's nothing wrong with that.
No, and I'm all for it. For it.
Yeah,
Look, I think this is a really good race. Broadway Boy, I think that Cheltenham race fell apart. I think Melina Girl was probably going to win. I think she was trading around even money when she fell. 300-5 is a rotten old yoke.
Tricky customer.
Protectorat wasn't off. He went off around I don't know, did he go off close to 30 on Betfair or something that day? So he wasn't off. He ran into third. I don't think that race that Broadway Boy won, he was entitled to win it as well off his mark in the low 140s that day. I don't think it was that good a race, whereas I think the race that Grey Dawning won, or didn't win, sorry, at Cheltenham, the race that Ginny's Destiny won, I think that was a really good race. I think you're solid running up there to close on 150 anyway. He's getting £2 off Broadway Boy. He's already beaten Apple away this season. I'd be a little worried about his jumping. If she can get him under pressure, he's a bit kind of flicky at some of his fences, but he's got an absolutely massive engine. When he won, when he won, it was at Newbury or Haydock. He won it. Sorry, now just clicking in. It
Haydock.
was Haydock, yeah, when he beat Garda Medina and Apple away. After that race, Skelton said that his big target this part of the year is going to be the race in Warwick. Cheltenham was a bit of an afterthought, but this has been the day with the big red circle around it. They think the track will suit him. I really like the horse. I think he's got loads of ability. He won the Leamington last year. He beat Ginny's Destiny by 5 lengths. I definitely think this fella has tons of ability. If he doesn't win this race, I think he could go and win the plate, but I think he's going to be too good for these. I think the race is going to set up nicely for him. In that Appleway is going to give him a lead, and he can come there with a run at the end. Broadway Boy, they might be a bit too careful with them. He's going to sit a bit further back, I think, and I don't think he'll get into it. So I'm quite strong on Grey Dawning here. I think he was the best horse in the race. He's winner without a penalty in effect from the last day.
Okay, best odds around 9-4 at the minute. Could well go off favourite if a lot of people agree with Stephen Cass. What do you like, Demo?
Yeah, the exact same. I started off this race making the argument that Apple Away should be hard to catch, but very, very hard to see how she overturns it, like even getting a little bit more weight.
A little bit more, yeah, but maybe not enough.
Not enough, no. Grey Dawning last time, I was on Ginny's Destiny, so I was delighted, but definitely that jump cost him. But very kind of enamored with him, with the way that he bound up the hill. He's a lovely horse. This will have been his target, and yeah, no, I completely agree. I think 9-4 is a very, very fair price.
I think a nice angle, Dean, if you like that form of that Cheltenham race, and myself and Dermot do, it might be to do, you could do Grey Dawning Trelawn double, because it's related form. So that's a nice little angle there.
Good shout. Fair play. Okay, we'll move on away from there. I'll be checking out the jump zone on Gambling.com to see. Well, I know Kean Kirby, who's obviously always on the race out. He's put up Broadway Boy the last twice, so I'd be surprised if he doesn't fancy him to go in again, having been on such a good run. And I'd also be surprised if Tanya doesn't stick with her Apple Away. We'll find out. 242 then at Kempton is the Lanzarote, of course, handicap hurdle. Always an absolute belter. 2 mile 5 furlongs there. I'll give you a quick spin through the market before we ask what people like. Impositoire for Nicky Henderson, James Bowen 4-1. Sonny Gino is 5s. Nania Lynham for Kerry Lee, Richard Patrick, who are going very well at the moment. That's just drifting a little bit out to 7s. 9's King Alexander, up for parole is at 12s. 14-1 Bardos. Must be something with a bit of value in here, Dermo.
Yeah, Dean, my old buddy Irish Hill looks an absolutely huge price here. Obviously Paul Nichols has had his quiet period. I think he doses them, doesn't he, around the turn of the new year. So he had his like 6-7 day period. We had winners just over the last few days now again. And for me, Irish Hill, like he's down to a mark of 127, £1 below his last winning mark, 16-1. Bryony Frost will be really well suited to him, being the kind of front running horse. He took big field handicaps just like this last season, beat a lot of similar horses to this, been kind of running into form, but none of those races this season will have suited him. He really comes alive in these big fields. He actually ran much better than his finishing position would suggest as well. In the Coral Cup last year, he actually came there swinging. He just wasn't good enough, which is obviously like a fair thing in a Coral Cup. But he ran huge that day as well. These big fields bring him alive, and I just can't quite get over the 16-1 price. I think it's absolutely ridiculously big. Yeah, I think off 10 stone, 1,227. I really like him at 16-1.
Deserted by Harry Cobden or difficult for him to get off Sonny Gino?
I'd say it was just difficult to hop off Sonny Gino, but to be honest, I watched a lot of Bryony Frost this season, and since blowing the whistle, let's say her pool of rides has really shrunk, but she's riding as well as anyone. And when she gets her opportunities, she's taking every single one of them. So yeah, no, I'm very happy to have her on board anyway.
Okay, well, she's got a good opportunity exactly in this race. The Lanzarote, Stephen Cass.
Yeah, it's always a tricky race to figure out. Like Nicky normally has a filly or something, he'll throw it up. But at the same time, Nicky's only 3 winners in the Lanzarote for the last 20 years. And you kind of be thinking in your head he's always win it. But Impositois, like he did look like he wants to go up and trip the last day. He definitely has a favourite chance. I wouldn't like Sonagino at all. He's at 16 starts over hurdles and he's now on a career high mark. I think he's kind of, he's running here off close to top weight, 12 stone. He's handicapped up to it. Impositois is a good fav. And beyond that, anything could win it. And the one I'm going to back is Serious Operator. He's at 8 starts over hurdles. He's won 4 of them. And over intermediate trips, he's won 4 from 6. He has to have good ground. He's getting that this weekend. So this is his chance to win a big one. At Donny himself, Pentland Hills pulled miles clear of the rest. And interestingly, that day, Patrick Wadge, who was riding him, said he has to have good ground. So he's coming here. A guy called Alan Doyle is claiming 5 off him. So he's kind of he only has 2 or 3 pounds higher than he had the last day when he won, and he won well. I don't know much about Alan Doyle. It's the only thing. He's only had 1 winner this season from 30 rides. So look, question mark there, but he's a big price for taking a swing. Like he won a really good handicap hurdle at Ayr last season. The 2nd, 4th, 5th, and 6th have all won, and he has won. 5 of the 6 runners that have ran from that race have all won. He's on an upward curve. So yeah, he's a big price. Serious Operator is the one I'll take a chance on at a big price.
Yeah, this is 28 to 1 out there, generally 25s. That is a big price indeed. You'd imagine this would be the last quiet run from Langadan chaps, wouldn't it?
I meant to say that at the start, actually. Wouldn't it be the greatest touch of all time?
I would.
He's only 2 pounds higher now than when he won the Carl Cup. Like, I think, would you get way more satisfaction from punt the ears off him at 40s and 50s the morning at the Lanzarote, go off 6-4 and win it?
I always thought that too. Do you know, like JP with one of his like novice hurdlers that clearly isn't up to the whole pile? I always wonder why they don't just absolutely go for it in their 3rd maiden hurdle start when they're like 50 to 1
somebody did it. Charles Burns did it. Charles Burns did it once, right? And it was the best punt I've ever seen. I can't remember the horse. But
of course.
He'd something. Charles Burns had won 0 and 8 and 2 maiden hurdles. 3rd start in the maiden hurdle, everyone you would have presumed would be out for a handicap mark, and they absolutely went for it. Went off 6-4 or something in the maiden hurdle.
It wasn't top of the town.
And they got it on the show as well. It was like 20s on the show or something.
Hey, look, there is an opportunity here for Langadan to run very well.
Yeah,
like there is, which is why
you'd have some respect now if they went for Langadan now on Saturday. That'd be doff of the cap now. I would get. I'd give up a Cheltenham winner for that one if I was them.
Yeah, I think so. I think I would too. I think that's what once the kind of book's been read so many times, right? A new last chapter, it's good crack. Okay, Impositois I thought was rock solid. I'm not sure there's ever great value punting 7-2, 4-1 in a field like this, but I do think that run by with Lucia and everything that came before it makes a lot of sense. Nicky, of course, he does have another one as well. King Alexander is in there. Lots of different things could win this. Serious Operator, of course, is the shout for Stephen Cass. Irish Hill with Bryony on. I wouldn't want to say what Gary Connolly would say that would happen if she comes abound into the. We can't say that on here anymore. But that's where we go. Lanzarote looks an absolute belter. I tell you what is a belter, the Classic Chase. Always. A horse you've already mentioned on this week, Stephen Cass is Melina Girl, who's going to try and recoup, I think. A lot of people thought that was going to go away and win at Cheltenham when coming down behind Broadway Boy. Of course, I'm talking about the Classic Chase. 6-1, that one. Getupan Kalonja's 7s. The winner is in the market at 8-1, if anyone wants to wax lyrical about that, but I'll do when we get there. Off you go, Stephen Cass.
Yeah. God, do you ever look at a race with fresh eyes, Dean? Have you ever done that? Like, have you ever just said, right, you just said, there's ballpark, I'll tip that. Like, that's the way it works, is it?
Yeah. It's very simple. When you find a horse that's that well handicapped, but potentially just wait for it to find the right race to go in. There are other horses I would give a chance to in here, but I can't not back that. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, Melina Girl is good favorite here. She's 6-1. I could see her going off shorter. I just back in a mare on the back of a fall, and with her run style, she's going to be slightly held up. And at Warwick, I always want them to be in the van. Connor Stonewall is going to take off 5, so she's she definitely has more races in her if they can keep her sweet. But keeping a mare sweet is a different story. At the same time, I wouldn't mind saving on her now at 11-2, 6-1. But the one I'm going to back, and I really like, is Galia Delato. So she won the 3 mile novice graded chase on this card last year. and she beat Complete Unknown, who went off favourite for the Old Hennessy, and is rated 152 now. So she's running here off 141. And interestingly enough, they've put 142. Sorry, they've put first-time pieces on her, which to me suggests that the Skeleton Bomb is going to go from the front in the pieces up the van, which is what you want at Warwick. Her jumping last year around Warwick was absolutely sensational. She was just really impressive. She wants deep ground. She wants a trip. It's going to be her first time going beyond 3 miles. Last year, after she won at Warwick, she went to the I actually can't remember the name of it. I've tried twice today. Brown Advisory. She went to the Brown Advisory.
Yeah.
She finished 5th. Good run for a mare, in fairness. Then went to Aintree. Jerry Clon beat her 15 lengths. Look, she's down to where she should be. You know, she's kind of a 140 something mare, and she's still up the top of the handicap at that. But I just think this is the race for her. Getting a rhythm, marathon trip, heavy ground, Warwick. That's what she wants. She is every bit as good this season. She came and won a listed mare's chase at Market Raisin, and then she went to Newbury. Pink Legend beat her, and she was kind of a bit flat-footed that day. They didn't make as much use of her as they can. I think she's better if she's in a rhythm on the front. So she was beaten nearly 2 lengths by Pink Legend, who's a good 142 horse herself. So I'd forgive her that, and I think the piece is on. She's going to go from the front, win only proposition. I think she'll either come there and she could win by 10 lengths, having given an exhibition of jumping down the back, or she could fall in the hole. So 12-14 to 1, I'd be really sweet on her as a win bet.
Thank you, Gallia de Leto. You'd be pretty sure with the Skeletons and Harry on top. She'd be a good bit, if she's going to win, she'd be a good bit clear at the second last.
Yes, I'd be putting the lay up and running to get your stake back.
So you got plenty of options there to deal with that as it happens. I'd imagine that's what happened. Interesting shout, that Gallia de Leto for the classic chase. A belt of a race, then. What would you like?
Yeah, I would be doing a reverse forecast between Gallia de Leto and my selection, which is quite boring. As Melina Girl, I just thought she was visibly coming to win that race last time. Connor Stone Walsh is just a serious bit of gear of a jockey. He's just really, really good. And last time he looked like he was coming to nail the race and just kind of didn't quite get there. The one horse to mention, not as a bet for this race at all, is City Chief, who has been behind Melina Girl now twice. Would have finished behind last time, but was behind the time before. This horse just keeps jumping right. I don't know why Nicky Henderson keeps running this horse left-handed, but he keeps doing it. When this horse does eventually,
want him to win at Cheltenham. I think they just keep going back to.
It's just really weird, but he keeps jumping right when he gets there.
Diarmuid, do you want to hear something interesting about him?
Yeah.
Watch him when he goes to a right-handed track and he jumps left. He's a bastard. Like if he went to Hereford now and he won and he jumped. That's a right-handed, and he jumped left the whole way.
I didn't watch that run. Okay.
At Cheltenham, he jumps right. I just think he's a bastard. There's horses do that. There's that really good novice of.
Hey, maybe Robert Dunn can sort this horse out though, because they've gone for it. Obviously, Nico's not around. Bowen's had to go. Maybe Robbie Dunn can sort out City Chief.
Yeah. Robbie Dunn will be in the same weighing room as a certain other jockey this weekend. And I know which jockey's better anyway, so I wouldn't be trusting Robbie Dunn to sort out this horse. Sorry. He does. He does it. There's a horse. Gordon has a horse. She ran in the Limerick Novice Chase. She does it as well. She goes right-handed. She jumps left. She goes left-handed. She jumps right. And City Chief does it as well. So he's just
a quirk.
Perfect.
I'd be watching out for that.
There's a quirk in him, as Cass would say.
Yes,
but the Melina Girl, Dodine, that there was not much of quirk in her. She looked last time like there was still more kind of improvement to come from her. Runs off the exact same mark. Jockey's Claim is just so useful here. We know she stays. I really like her here. Yeah,
could go off quite short that, because there's some disparity in the early markets at the minute. I think as we currently record, there's a bit of 6 to 1 out there, but also as low as 9 to 2.
She could go off 5 to 2 now.
She could go pretty short. So if you're going to get involved, I think probably it's sooner rather than later. The one I intimated was going to win this race, not to be surprised, is Beauport. If you go and watch that run behind Truckers Lodge at Sandown, anything like 100 lengths given up during the race, in absolutely knowing you're on an aeroplane and can win when you want, and then when you get there and it doesn't happen, it's very disappointing. How you think you can do that over that distance on that ground at Sandown, I don't know. But this horse has plenty in hand, as much as it needs to have. I think it just needs to all come together for it in the day. I imagine it will happen here. I do. But Jordan, Naylor, I'm going to give you one more chance, my friend. Please get it done. Beauport should be winning the Classic Chase this weekend. And it's all in front of them. It went at £1 for a race. It could have won 20 or 30 lengths with a normal ride.
Is this? I hope it's more like one of your better ones and not like another Galahad Quest this lad, is it?
Galahad Quest delivered on a number of occasions.
He delivered once after you were not about it. Once.
No, twice. 12 to 1.
He ran the other day. Did you see him on Monday?
He did. That was a nice prep. Yeah. Nice prep, Stephen.
Nice prep, yeah. For the Gold Cup.
Gold Cup. Yeah.
Unfortunately, that didn't come off, but yeah, one of my wilder ones. But at the same time, you would be in front. We'll see how Beauport goes in the Classic. I'd be very hopeful. It won't surprise anyone who want to rush to the closer end of the show that'll be the nap for the weekend. It will win if it goes right, and it should. The Veterans Handicap Chase. Crack at this. Celebre Delen, Good Boy Bobby, I Right, Mill Green, Ramses de Tele. It's like a who's who of rogues and old boys, and some very good horses still in their own right. Of course, Thomas Darby's in there. Remember the heads getting stuck up in the Supreme and not come. Anyway, it doesn't matter. We move. Stephen Cass, what do you like in the Veterans Chase? Got to be a bet.
No, I don't have an opinion. I'd like no, don't have an opinion. I think the track will suit I Right. Maybe he'll have a chance, but I probably won't have a bet.
I Right was your version of Beauport for a while, wasn't he?
Wasn't
well, he was, but I'd actually take. I like to take each race. I like to take each race on its merits, Termo. You know, and actually assess the form.
You're one of them. You're one of them.
I did fancy him a couple of races, all right, but it was
that's a wild way to go about it, Steve.
Yeah. I know what Dino's or what Dermo's going to tip up though.
I don't want anything here.
Mill Green, your old friend.
I'm shocked. Yeah, I'm shocked.
I tip him once a year and tell him every year to place. And in fairness, he does most years. In fairness to him, he's ran and absolutely he's some boy at Cheltenham. No, I literally I kind of enjoy watching these to a certain degree. I might put a fiver if I'm having a good day, but these chases are not races I get involved in at all.
These are for the Brits. The old sentimental bastards. They love this stuff.
Yeah. I have to say I'm looking forward to it.
That's because you own about half of the horses in that race.
Yeah. At one time or other, all of these have been on my cliff list, and eventually they've gone and got the job done. So I'm not waiting this long for them to hit to hit the bullseye. I actually, I will find a bet. 100%, I will find a bet. I'm not going to find it in advance, and it's a great race, though. I love the idea. I love the way that they've got it. They've got it set up for all these veterans, and this is what you want. Good competitive racing. Horses still enjoying themselves at this stage of their career. A quick word about the Dan Moore at Fairyhouse. We might be a little bit light on betting yet, but I'll bring it up here again. But Saint-Ouen, lads, what's been going on with Saint-Ouen?
He's probably just limited, and ground has been against him as well. He's one of them that. If he was ever 100 to 1 in like a race like that, Punchestown or something like that.
It's going to be 100 to 1 in a lot of races like
Bailey
that.
Green was another one of them. Remember, he used to pop up. He used to nearly pop up at Punchestown once a year and stuff. He's that kind of a horse, But as far as this now off this mark, I wouldn't be fancying the fact that Mark Walsh hasn't picked him as well. Would say an awful lot. I actually like what looks like the third string JP McManus horse in this. Rosie's Hollow, Dean. She's a tricky old customer, but off 10 stone here, she's very talented. She actually ran quite well last time, only her jumping fell apart, but she really stayed on late in the piece. Simon Torrance knows the horse very well, and sometimes JP does just leave the likes of a Simon Torrance on a horse if they're not obviously a grade 1 horse. Johnny McGarvey has a few of them as well. But Simon Torrance seems to get on well with her. This was a horse who ran quite well behind Impervious and Dino Blue last season, form that's not working out that badly. This is not a good race. This is not a great race at all. It's a very tricky race, a very interesting race, but not a great race. And her running here off 10 stone wouldn't surprise me. See her run out.
Okay, Rosie's Hollow. Interesting shout for the Dan Moore there from Dama. I thought, let's be clear about it. I didn't get away with this. It's a dipping trip. I mean, this horse obviously goes further. For Cromwell and Kempton, he'd probably be hard to beat, but I've no betting, Stephen, so I don't want to weighing in when I don't know what price they're going to throw at me. What do you reckon that'll be?
What I don't know. I didn't really look at the race. I find the 2 mile handicap chase division in Ireland a bit tricky, and when we did
No,
the
it's
decks,
tricky, right?
yeah. We were only getting the decks this morning. I wasn't even really looking. I'd say, let's be clear about it, would be favourite would be my guess, and would have a right chance. I do. There's one I will back depending on the price at Fairyhouse on Saturday, the 12:47. It's a Mare's Maiden Hurdle, and a horse called Joya Del Mar, who ran at Down Royal on, I think it was the 26th. It was Mossy Fen Park, beat her 3/4 of a length. She was a big price that day, and she was very, very. She travelled really well. Diarmuid McLaughlin gets these kind of horses; they're kind of tanked through. This would be a much weaker race, but because of the unsexy connections, I think she might still be a nice price in the morning. It won't take too much winning that Mare's Maiden Hurdle. So if you're getting anyway, 3-1, 4-1 plus, I think she'd be a good bet.
Yeah, those connections not that unsexy at Fairyhouse, I have to say. He does seem to get them right, and those colours indeed. Was there anything else over the weekend that we wanted to throw into the mixer? That's an open question. Stephen, you can go, or Derma, you can go.
I just have one more running on Friday. It is a politicise in the 312 at Naas on Friday. Ran an absolutely huge race to be third. At Christmas they kind of were trying him over fences, but fences definitely wasn't kind of for him. But he'll be a decent price, and that third 11% was absolutely huge. He's still really well handicapped. This is one of those conditional races, the opportunity handicaps, as they call them. And this young jockey here knows this horse very well. Has basically ridden him the last 10 starts, so has that advantage as well. And politicise, despite not winning very often, he's definitely well handicapped to do so again. That was a real sign of him coming back to form last time, and in a race not full of a decent form, he's definitely has it.
Fair enough, thank you. Let's politicise it on that Naas card, of course, with the Lawyers of Naas Hurdle. In there, Mr. Policeman's in the opener, going to go off odds on in the novice chase that gets that card underway on Friday up against Quilxalos, who everyone will know well. Decent stuff for Friday to warm us up to the weekend. Right, any weekend naps? Stephen Cass, your best, please.
I'd be between Gallia Della Toe and Grey Dawning for the nap. I think, but no, I'll go Gallia Della Toe. I just think the race is really going to be run to suit her, so she's got a good win chance. You're going to be there jumping the last in front, hopefully, so I'll go for her.
Okay. Gallia Della Toe in the Warwick Classic Chase, 3 o'clock Saturday. Dermot, your best of the weekend? You probably only decided now. This is your normal. You're on mute.
Banbridge in the 205 at Kempton.
Lovely. Thank you. Banbridge in, what is that? That's in the Silvinaco Conti Chase.
Yeah, Conti Chase. Yeah.
Brilliant. A great renewal of that is what it looks like. I'm obviously going for Beauport. It's either this weekend or Jordan, I give up, my friend. So, I'm on. I'm on board whilst you're on board. Let's get it done.
Beauport, big breakaway double there for Dino for the weekend.
Oh my God, that I can't do that. No, that's fine. All right, look, enjoy the weekend's racing. As I said, next weekend is Under Doubt. So if you listen to me, not under any doubt at all. If you listen to Stephen Cass, you've been listening to the Racehour, of course, brought to you with Cash Win Sportsbook and Gambling.com. My thanks go to Stephen Cass and Dermot Nolan. Do play responsibly. We'll see you next week.
Relentless, remorseless.